Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. It's me, John, and Shannon. As always, I'm joined by Kieran and Powell. How are you, Kai?
Um,
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Looking forward to discussing the India Test series with you. With no further ado, I'll go through the 11 that you've picked for the first test. Opening the batting, you go with John Campbell and Justin Graves. Alec Athanase at three, Brandon King at four, Shea Hope at five, Roston Chase at six, Tevin Imlach at seven with the gloves, Kerry Pierre at eight, Jamel Warrican at nine, Anderson Phillip 10, and Jaden Sears at 11. So talk us through, well, obviously with the two quicks missing out injury wise, which is bizarre. Well, it's not bizarre the injuries, but obviously the situation. Do you see that pretty straightforward than who they bring in?
uh, so I'll start with that. I'll start bottom up, actually.
Okay.
Um, I think Alzari and Shamar had injuries in the CPL that were obviously quite well documented. Obviously, Shamar
Yeah.
fell on his shoulder and missed some time. Alzari didn't play a few games because he was having these issues. So I'm not sure what happened there, if the medical team thought they would have recovered sufficiently, but they haven't, or whatever the case is. But obviously, that's going to be a huge blow to the West Indies.
Big time.
Um, I think it's going to be interesting to monitor Jaden Seals as well now that those two are out, because what you don't want is a over dependence or over
Yes.
reliance on him,
Yeah.
which forces him then to also get injured and break down,
Yeah.
because you're missing your other spare two guys. You have to trust whatever unit is put on the field
Yeah.
and distribute the workload accordingly.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting though is twofold. After the first injury happened, Johan Lane was the first person contacted. He was the first replacement. Why wasn't that Jason Holder if he was already in Nepal? I think that you could have sent Johan Lane to Nepal and sent Jason Holder straight away to India. Now, obviously, it's been released or revealed that after the second injury, Jason Holder was contacted, but he said he's unavailable because
Yeah.
he's got some procedure or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Jason was the one doing media and stuff during the CPL, stating that he wants to play Test cricket.
Yeah.
So if you have a procedure, is it that bad that you can play in Nepal, but you can't go to India and put it off for another week? Or, is it something that has to absolutely be done now, or it can't be done again? You're in that bad of a position. I don't think that that is the case. If before this series you were stating that
Yeah.
you wanted to be a part of the thing, the series, so that one is, I guess, muddled waters on both sides. Both sides, it doesn't make sense for me. But even more alarming than that is the fact that you're playing a test series in India, which is one of the hardest places to play test cricket. Um, Two of your senior bowlers go down, and you replace them with two bowlers that between the two of them have zero test matches.
Yeah.
Was Kemar Roach contacted? A. B. If he was contacted, did he decline? Because that was not mentioned as it was with Jason. C. If he wasn't contacted, what has he done so wrong that
Yeah.
he has gone from being a senior bowler for in excess of the past 10 years to now a situation like this where maybe you might say, okay, he doesn't have as much pace as before, or whatever the case is, but he, just through his experience, provides someone that the opposition has to respect.
Yeah. Definitely.
And he will give you, at the very least, an element of control.
Yeah.
Maybe not his same wicket taking self, maybe not his same express pace as a while ago now, but he provides at least experience and a level of skill
Yeah.
that can provide control for the captain in foreign conditions with two of your current main bowlers out. So that was a very troubling tale for me, because if you remember the press conference before the series where Darren Sammy said that he doesn't have the ability to end someone's career, it's for them to go back and prove that, they're still capable. I think this was a perfect situation for you to, even if just for this series alone, bring Kemar Roach back. And it could have served as, a bit of farewell as well, as
Yeah.
opposed to how it was all done. So again, as I said, I don't know the situation, but I just thought that that is something that is worth mentioning. Now, having said that, the two options they've gone for, two seam bowling options, you already have Anderson Phillip and Jaden says that there's very slim chances that the West Indies are going to play four quick bowlers in any of these two test matches.
Yeah.
So I thought it was an option for either an Akil Hussain, a Joshua Bishop, or a Raheem Cornwall to be added to the squad.
Yeah.
No, I know they're going to say that they already have two left arm spinners, but both of those left arm spinners are two completely different left arm spinners.
Yeah.
Jo- um, Jomel Warrican is a lot slower, flights it a bit more.
Yeah.
Their spin on offer might get it to spin, but he's a lot slower through the year. Kyrie Peer is a lot faster, more stump to stump, darts, control, economical, someone that bowls a lot of overs to get his wicket stub, So it's that you can have multiple guys doing, in theory, the same thing, but they're doing it in different ways.
Yeah.
So that's for me where a Joshua Bishop would have and Aki Hussein would have come into contention. And then Iraqi and Cornwall, obviously, big, tall, off spinner,
Yeah.
extra bounce, probably the one that spins it the most out of all the names that were mentioned, So I think those guys would have been a better option. If you want to bring one of the options to cover as a fast bowling option for the two guys that got injured, I have no problem with that. But I think that another spinner should have been added to the squad. Um,
The point about Raheem Cole that I just want to quickly mention as well, which I liked, the point that you mentioned about bringing him in, is because he's played there before. He went on the last tour. This squad is looking a little bit inexperienced from playing in India, which it's hard enough at the best of times. Never mind going in there, with minimal time playing in India. So I like the idea of what you mentioned there about them bringing in Raheem Cole because he went there in the tour 3 years ago when it was.
yeah, that was against Afghanistan, correct?
No, against India. He played against India and he got Kohli out twice.
Okay, so there you go. So that means he's been to India for Test cricket twice then, because they
Yeah.
played
He played.
Afghanistan in India as well.
Mm.
So yeah, further strengthens my point as
That's what I'm
someone
saying.
that would
Yeah.
have had experience in those conditions.
Yeah.
But you look at the rest of the squad, you'd have seen that I'd have taken the gloves from a Shea Hope, because in all likelihood you're going to be keeping for very long periods of
Yeah.
time in this series. And I think, as I continue to state, that the most important thing that the West Indies want from Shea Hope is not his wicket keeping, but his batting.
Yeah.
So I think you alleviate that pressure of up and down for 160 overs.
Yeah.
Tevin Imlak, young, strong, fit guy. Um, Hopefully, he'll have enough time to rest before he gets a chance to bat as well.
Yeah.
Uh, and then I would have gone with Justin Graves as the opener. I mean, I know a lot of people would think that Tejan and Shannon is selected and automatically he'd be the opener, but I think that looking as we said with those two guys out injured, I think it adds a level of balance
Yeah. Great.
to
That's
the
what exactly what I
teams.
was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, because Justin, I mean, and this is not just for Justin. I think Justin, Joshua De Silva, and Amir Jangu should be looking to seal that opening spot for the West Indies.
Yeah.
I think those are three guys that have sort of the ability to do that based on the way that the West Indies are trying to play, but just based on their skill set and their techniques as well.
Yeah,
I think that long term, those three guys are the guys that should be filling up that position in the immediate future. Anyway, I mean,
yeah,
obviously, Ameka Louis was just dropped, and he'll have his own battle to get back into the test team. Along with these guys, which should make it even more interesting. But I just think that those are the guys that should be looking to either position. So I think that Justin offers the team a level of balance where you've got three spinners, but you still got three seam bowling options,
yeah, yeah.
as opposed to when the seamers are off. It's all spin until you want to bring the seamers back. So
Yeah.
I think that sort of balances out the team as best as it possibly could be.
Yeah, no, I think that's the way you broke that down then and picking those that side, it made sense from that 11 that you mentioned. The point that you mentioned as well about regards to Kemar Roach, I think it is getting to a point where it's borderline disrespectful as well, really, where when you're naming, I didn't think they needed to mention that Jason Holden was approached, or I don't think it's necessary. That's for something for Jason to be aware of, and I don't think the public need to be aware of that because you don't, you know, yeah, I just think he leaves a bit of a sour taste. I think what he's done for,
I think it's sort of combative in a way as well, as if to say, Jason's been saying he wants to play, but we offered him the opportunity and he turned it down.
yeah, but is that off the back of Jason going through this PR in terms of trying to promote that he wants to play Test cricket? Do they feel like they have to
Yeah,
approach him and come out? It feels a bit, yeah, for me, it's like, okay, he's made all these statements that he wants to play Test cricket, so we need to let everybody know that we approached him. It's a bit like,
exactly,
yeah, it doesn't really, it doesn't sit well with me, to be honest with you, in that situation, but that's just,
exactly.
that's the way that it goes. But you made obviously some points to me in the message when we were speaking earlier today about things you'd need to see or we want to see, and one of them was regards opening the batting. And John Campbell, you want to see him, at least score 150 plus score per test. Um, it feels like that's obviously like something obviously you have from your own. It's a tough ask as well, but why just him?
I think obviously now with Craig Brathwaite out the team, John is now tasked with being quote unquote the senior opening batter.
Yeah,
I think he's got three half centuries in something like 25 test matches.
yeah,
So he would know that he's getting a lot of stats and giving it away, and it's either going to come to a point where you sink or you swim, because it's either going to be the selectors feel as though they've given you enough opportunities and look elsewhere, or you
yeah,
start converting those and getting more consistent scores of
yeah.
impact.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. And you look at when you go through his test match list, it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot of starts. He's got to then turn that into scores and set that innings up, which then obviously leads on to the next point about obviously West Indies making India bat twice in each test match, which would obviously mean that they've got to be putting some scores on the board.
Well, I think the West Indies' best bowling attack would have been obviously with those three quicks.
Yeah,
Regardless of where in the world, I think those guys are wicket taking bowlers. I
yeah,
think it's going to be a lot more difficult now that we're going to have to go the spin route. But it's not impossible. It's just a matter of building pressure. I think you have to look to get your wickets through pressure
yeah,
as opposed to looking to blast people out. So, just keeping that economy rate below two,
yeah.
keeping it below 2.5, frustrating guys and taking your chances.
That's where I think as well they may have missed the boat with not picking Raheem Cornwall. It's someone who, when I feel his economy rate is phenomenal. The way he builds pressure is phenomenal. The way he gets it. But again, I don't want to go over that. But the point that your next point obviously follows up from that. And my question is that you said obviously you want West Indies to take both tests into day 5, but the way that they're going to have to do that is to bat time as well. How do you see that batting lineup that you sort of picked adapting to, say, to really go into the depths of facing, a lot of balls each, really?
Simple. Each person has the simple target of trying to bat 100 balls. You know, that accumulates over the span of an innings.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, everyone won't do that. Some guys that get they obviously stretch beyond 100 to balance out the guys that don't get to 100 balls. But that should be, the minimum aim.
yeah. Well, that's what you're saying as well. One of your other points about batting a day, go up, batting deep and things. But one of the points that I wanted to discuss when following on from this batting perspective is, I think the batting line have got to start to value the wicket a bit more. They've really got to sort of not give it away. I felt like the situation in that Australia series, it was tough, and they're going up against the attack that is incredibly tough. But they're also going up against a similar sort of attack in these conditions that's tough. So I think they've got to really value the wicket. I don't want to see loose shots. If you get a snorter from Bumrah, you're going to get that. It's fine. It happens. It's cricket. You're going to get a delivery with your name on. But I just don't want to see the batters get themselves out by a lapse of concentration or a really poor shot. I don't want to see him getting caught mid off or mid on. I want to, if they get nicked off, it is what it is, and to a certain, to a certain degree. Um, but the other point again you mentioned was about from a bowling attack, obviously taking 20 wickets in each test, showing the bowling attack is generally world class. With the change in losing the seamers, what else from a bowling perspective would you like to see?
I think obviously with those two injuries, that 20 wickets goes out the window for me. I don't see that as being realistic. But if they could at least bowl India out, in the first innings of each test match, that would go a long way towards showing that, at full strength what we could potentially do.
Yeah,
Uh, I think, as I said, for this group of bowlers, it's more so economy rate. So if India do get big runs, it has to take them a long period of time. It has to take them
yeah,
a day and 2/3, to
yeah,
get to what they want to get to. It's not
yeah,
you're scoring quickly, 3 sessions, 4 sessions, we've got 500, 600.
yeah. What? How the role of a captain in India with Roston? How hard is it to get that balance sometimes of going to attack, but then also trying to be defensive at the same time?
Not difficult in the sense that you probably have in-outfield, so you'll have your catchers around the bat, and then you'll have your men
Yeah,
out on the boundary protecting the boundaries as well. So that's probably more so the way that it's gonna pan out than anything else.
yeah,
So it's just understanding how you're looking to take your wickets, and then where you're looking to defend on the boundary and have feelers in the right places. Then
yeah, yeah. Do you feel that they've had enough time in India?
ideally, like you'd want to have a practice match or two. Um, I know a lot of people like to say that the international schedule doesn't allow for such anymore, but the time that they did have is, it doesn't really matter if they had enough at this point or not. It's
Yeah,
just
true.
down to them, I guess, using it sufficiently or using it wisely now.
Yeah, yeah. No, look. I think to summarise, it's going to be a tough ask. The way that they played against England this summer over here was well, it was a great series in general, and they showed some real class. And I think Shubman Gill showed his captaincy skills were superb over here, in my opinion. The way that he balanced various things throughout the series, so it is going to be a tough ask. But the point that you mentioned about seeing that progressive development is going to be key, and I do think there's going to be times when we could see more positive performances individually than against Australia, which is obviously something that, realistically, we're not going to turn around here and say the target's going to be to win the series 2-0. It's winning more of they've got to build up by winning more of these
Yeah,
sessions because they
yeah,
just every single, they never seem to win a big session against Australia.
yeah, yeah.
So, but do let us know what you think. What do you think of Kieran's side that he selected there? Do you see any of the changes? Do you see Shannon opening? But where do your Rovers come from potentially if you do lose Justin Graves? So do let us know your thoughts on the series and what you'd like to see from positives. Please continue to keep liking the channel, keep subscribing, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. Thank you.